Hey everyone. It has gotten so bad in this country that we now preface our sentences, our statements, our comments with, this is not an anti-whatever, anti-gay, anti-black, anti-white, anti-women. I am so sick of this politically correct shit. Just say what you have to say, what you feel like you want to say, and then leave it alone. And please do not come back and apologize for your statements. You obviously meant what you said when you said it, so stand by what you've said. So apparently you can't say anything against gay people or against the lifestyle of gay people. Otherwise you will be fired from your job and possibly lose your livelihood, your income. We saw it only a few years ago with Isaiah Washington, who was fired from the hit TV show ER. And he was fired because he used the word faggot. Now, this was not a word that he used directly to the guy who was actually the gay guy on the set. He used it to another actor, Patrick Dempsey to be exact, and he was using it in the context of a few other words, like bitch and pussy. And he was basically saying that Dempsey was treating him like the words that I just used. And that is the reason why that particular word, faggot, came out. It was not directed at the guy who was actually gay. At any rate, Washington was fired from ER, and essentially his television career was over. All because he used that word. And now we have in the news today Reggie Williams, who's in the MLB. And from what I can tell from this article, all he did was say on Twitter, why are there so many gay people these days? Is that a bad question to ask? I think it's a very legitimate question. If you're noticing more gay people in society than you would normally have seen in your younger years, that's a very valid question to ask. He then went on to say that the bold act of gayness in public. So apparently he was seeing, I don't know, two men holding hands or possibly even kissing in public. And he was probably offended by what he saw. I don't think that that's an abnormal reaction, especially for a possible heterosexual man. Now, you never know where these things are coming from. These hostile feelings are stemming from sometimes heterosexual or men who want to pretend they are heterosexual will make statements like this because they're really hiding their own homosexuality, and they may be tapping into something that they are uncomfortable with. On the other hand, this could be a heterosexual man who just is genuinely uncomfortable looking at two men holding hands in public and kissing. He has a right to express that. The fact that people are getting upset about it and he could possibly lose his job over it. And if I'm not mistaken, it says that he was released as an infielder on the eve of the regular season. This is ridiculous. We've had people like Imus call black women nappy-headed hoes, and the worst that has happened to these types of people is they get fired. You know, the studios kind of let them lay low, and then they're back on. It's as if nothing ever happened. Here in Los Angeles on the radio station KFI, John and Ken, which are two very popular radio talk show hosts, were making references to Whitney Houston as a crackhead hoe, as a crack hoe, references like that. What they did was KFI decided to just suspend them. And they let them go, gave them a 2-week vacation, and when things died down, they were back on the air. So I'm really having a hard time accepting that people like Isaiah Washington and Reggie Williams are being fired for saying things that are in reference to gay people, gay men particularly, but there is really no direct attack. Asking why are there so many gay people these days is not an attack against gay men or gay women, transgender, whatever you identify as. It's not an attack, and it's certainly not a reason for a man to lose his livelihood. We're getting out of hand here, people. I mean, we've gotten so PC in this fucking country that we've forgotten the importance of people being able to speak freely and express themselves freely. If someone is uncomfortable or unsettled by what they are seeing in society, they should have a right, and they do have a right to express that. And it's such hypocrisy. We fire people like Isaiah Washington and possibly this guy Reggie Williams, but we only lay off people like John and Ken and Imus, and then we rehire them. Granted, I mean, Imus and John and Ken were only talking about black women, and who cares about them? Whereas Isaiah Washington and Reggie Williams were talking about gay people, and we all know how valuable they are. It's total hypocrisy, and I cannot wait for black people to wake up and realize that they need their own leagues, they need their own studios, they need their own film production companies. We need to stop relying on these Jews and these whites to support us and to give us our livelihoods. It's insanity. Here you have people who are generating millions and millions and millions of dollars for others. And meanwhile, your income is contingent upon you censoring every word you speak. And goodness forbid that you should use the word faggot or say anything against gay people. Now, all of a sudden, you are labeled racist, which has nothing to do with racism, by the way. People get it confused. Speaking against gay people is not racist. Has nothing to do with race. It is a prejudice, if you will, but it is not racism. Another guy's career was ruined. Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan's career was ruined all because he made anti-gay remarks in a stand-up comedy set. Now, do you see Tracy Morgan anywhere? No. And I believe he said something like, if he found out his son was gay, he would kill him. And people took that very literally. I don't think any man, whether he could accept his son being gay or not, would actually do that. But it's just another example of the hypocrisy that we deal with here in America. In 1971, John Wayne gave an interview to Playboy magazine. In part, he stated, "I believe in white supremacy until the blacks are educated to a point of responsibility. I do not believe in giving authority and positions of leadership and judgment to irresponsible people." Now, In today's society, would he be allowed, or would anyone be allowed to say something like that? No. But was he expressing his true feelings about blacks? Yes. Did he have a right to say it? Absolutely. And the reason why I believe that even people with racist or prejudiced feelings have the right to express themselves and say how they feel is because I want to know exactly who I am dealing with. The type of person that I am dealing with, the mentality of the person that I am dealing with or that I am having to interact with, that I may be supporting in terms of paying for movie tickets or watching their television show. I want to know. And then I can make a choice as to whether I want to continue to support that person. And I just believe that Isaiah Washington, Reggie Williams, and Tracy Morgan should have been given those same luxuries. They should have been allowed to express themselves however they felt. And if an audience that was offended by what they said, then they have the choice of whether or not they want to continue to support those people. But for the studios or the baseball league to get rid of these men simply because they made statements about gays, I believe is absolutely wrong. Now, did John Wayne lose some fans by his statements? Maybe. I'm sure he probably lost a few. Probably not many, but a few. And he may have gained quite a few more fans simply because he was saying it how it is. Saying it how most people probably thought back then and probably still think today. Some people have said that Elvis turned over in his grave the day that his daughter married Michael Jackson. And they said that for a reason. In June 1957, while in Boston, Elvis did an interview. And in that interview, he uttered the now infamous declaration, "The only thing niggers can do for me is buy my records and shine my shoes." Now, do you think that Elvis was banned from his record label, that they, cut him off, that they got rid of him? No. His record sales probably went up. If he lost any fans that were black, then deservedly so. But that was the decision of the consumer, not the record label. Maybe there were some black people who didn't care that he made that statement. And I'm sure others just like it. And they continue to buy his music. They continue to support his films. I said all of that to say I believe that the decision of whether a person's income stream is stopped or lowered, reduced, should be on the part of the consumer and not the part of the studios. Especially for something that is not devastating. None of these guys that I mentioned did anything close to like what Fatty Arbuckle did. Arbuckle was arrested and tried for the murder of a young starlet. Now, none of these black men that I've mentioned have done anything close to having a Fatty Arbuckle scandal. Yet they've all been fired or possibly will be fired. Those guys did nothing close to what Fatty Arbuckle did in 1921, yet they're being treated like criminals, as if they killed somebody. And that's just wrong. Here are 3 black men making references to gays, and they are ruined in terms of their careers and streams of income. But then you have, on the other hand, John and Ken 2, Imus 1, and I'm sure there are others that have made remarks against black women. And they've only been suspended and then rehired. Blatant hypocrisy here. And I don't like it one bit.